We're ready.
All right, stand by.
5, 4, 3.
Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're live.
All right. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Somers Town Board regular meeting starting here at 7:05 on Thursday, December 14th, 2023. Before we start tonight's meeting, can we all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Get spread out a little.
Hey, Patty, please double check.
Nah.
January 1st, 2:00. Got it. Yes, you did. Yep, I just double checked.
All righty.
Memory.
Patty, can we start with roll call, please?
Councilman William G. Faulkner.
Here.
Councilman Richard G. Clinchie.
Present.
Councilman Anthony J. Sirico.
Present.
Councilman Thomas A. Garrity Jr. Supervisor Rob Scarano.
Here. All righty, we're gonna move right into the 2024 preliminary budget continuation. Just gonna read over some of the highlights again on this for our budget here. Exclusive of special districts, the 2024 budget total appropriations of $16,817,679 is a $799,181 and a 4.99% over the 2023 budget. The increases were primarily due to allocation of $300,000 for various capital projects, increase in salaries due to the ratification of the CSEA contract, 2 additional part-time police officers, and approximately $61,000 for a new police car, increased rates for employee health and retirement benefits, which are not under the town's control. We kept $500,000 in highway funds budget for paving, as we did last year without the need to bond. Total 2024 revenues are budgeted at $8,964,847, which is $1,553,340, and a 20.96% over the 2023 budget. This increase is primarily due to budgeted increases in county sales tax, interest income, and consolidated local street and highway improvement programs, CHIPS, that's income. The 2024 tax rate is $15.73, which is a 47-cent increase over the 2023 actual of $15.26. The increase is primarily due to $4.1 million in net decreases in taxable value, primarily due to decrease from the IBM property, which we worked on. The town's tax levy is $7,803,762 and is $164,249, or 2.15% over the 2023 budget. The budget remains tax compliant and under the tax cap of 2.77%. Capital projects and water and sewer are for deferred maintenance that the town is now addressing post-COVID and post-bond retirement. Planned water projects include rehab and painting of the Ross Drive storage tank. 200 feet of water main will be installed at Parkway Drive, and water meters and fire hydrant replacement. Planned sewer projects include rebuild and update pump station, Windsor Road, purchase spare pumps and upgrade control panels, Travis Road, primary and secondary, and repair to several sewer manholes. And that's where we got to our budget tonight. Comments? Yeah. At this time, I'd like to open up a public comment. Anybody like to comment on the budget? If you'd like to, all in favor? All right.
Aye.
So moved. If you would come up here and you want to come up and talk about the budget.
No, I'm sorry, not the budget.
Not the budget. Okay. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'd like.
Come on up.
I appreciate all your efforts. This is Barbara Tepper, speaking on behalf of the Library Board of Trustees about our allotment. I appreciate your efforts to keep the tax cap down. However, when you look at the Social Security has announced that all Social Security recipients are getting 3.1% over last year. And the Heritage Management, we just got a letter, they're raising their dues by 3.5%. So to give employees of this town anything less than that, than those figures, they're not going to be able to keep up with the inflation that we are experiencing. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? No? Okay. I think we've had so many discussions about this. At this time, I will close out the public hearing.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so moved. And then I'll make a motion to adopt the 2024 preliminary as the 2024 adopted with discussed changes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Okay, that moves on to number 2 here. Public hearing on the proposed local law to amend chapter 58 entitled Vehicles and Traffic of the Town of Somers. Article 5 entitled Stop and Yield Intersection, Section 158-19, stop intersection designated for proposed stop signs at the northmost intersection of Addison Way and Robert Martin Boulevard. And Article 7 entitled Heritage Hills, Section 158-23B, stop intersections located on the West Hill for the proposed three-way stop sign at Westbridge Drive and West Hill Drive, and a three-way stop sign at West Ridge Drive and Waterview Drive. Okay, anybody have any? Oh, yes, Patty, publishing and postings, please.
Sure, that was on December 5th in the Journal News and posted on the town clerk's bulletin.
So much. Anybody have any, so public hearing for here, is anybody here to speak on that? Come on up.
Thank you. So Supervisor Scarano, members of the council, my name is Alan Tepper. I am president of Condo 29 in Heritage Hills. I want to thank you for considering our petition requesting permission to install stop signs at 2 particularly dangerous intersections within our condo property. I hope you'll agree with me that when you consider that the work will be done entirely within a private community, and we have signatures from over 200 residents of that community supporting the stop signs, and the fact that the work will be done at no cost to the town of Somers, all bills and all funds will be supplied by Condo 29. I hope you'll agree that it's in everybody's best interest to approve the request. Thank you.
Thank you. Please come up, sir.
Hi, my name is Robert Clark. I live at 715 Heritage Hills, right on Waterview. A number of times I have gone out at night to go shopping. I'm a night shopper. I don't go during the day normally. I go to Acme at 10 o'clock. And I go to make the left turn from Waterview onto Westridge. And it is extremely dangerous because just east of Waterview on Westridge is a blind turn. And a number of times, I'm a careful driver. I look very carefully, make sure nobody's coming. People are flying on this road. I had one guy come up and the speed limit is 25 or 30 miles an hour. I made the left turn, made sure nobody was coming. He was going so fast, I thought he was going to run into me. He pulled over into the other lane and went flying up the hill at 50, 60 miles an hour. That's why we need, and this is not the only occurrence. You can say, well, it's an anomaly. Why do we have to put a stop sign? Because one idiot doesn't obey the speed laws. But this has happened repeatedly. People feel it's a straight stretch and they just put their foot on the accelerator and go around the turn, the blind turn at 40, 45 miles an hour, and then head up the hill at even faster rate. I'm a retiree of Con Ed. I used to go out on the storm things. The one thing they stress to you is safety. Safety of the public, safety of other drivers. All I'm saying is, this is a dangerous intersection and a stop sign would make it a lot safer and slow down the traffic of these people who don't seem to be able to adhere to any vehicle safety laws. Thank you.
Thank you. Guys, I've been up there a few times. I know the intersections that,
Remind me, Rob, Westview and is it, and what?
so there's West Ridge Drive and West Hill Drive. And there's West Ridge Drive and Waterview Drive.
Yes.
I've been at both of those. I've seen one of the blind turns, I think, coming down the hill, trying to make the right out of there, right? I think there's the hemlocks that are there. And I know there were some of those spaces. I've taken some rides up there with our engineer to look at like that. I know there's no objection, I believe, from our police department. Safety is our number one concern in town. We do have we're trying to combat some of the speeding, right, with the new cars and people are flying around. But this is just another way for us to try to do something. You know, we can't control bad drivers, but we can do to try to help them slow down a little bit when it comes to it. Alan, I want to appreciate you bringing it to our attention a couple months ago. We went out there and did our due diligence on it. So I appreciate it. I know the turns and they are pretty dangerous. So I have no objection to the two that are here before us for the three-way stop signs. Anybody else?
No objections.
No, Joe.
No, I have no objection. I would just say that, stop signs, already, I'm sure, Tepper, are not designed to slow traffic, but they're for safety, just as you said. And so did Mr. Clark say that. And so at these intersections, it's not to slow, it's just stop them so people aren't, we don't have a disaster up there. So it certainly seems to be a good idea, and no one would know better than all of you who live there. So we will take your recommendation. And Patty, we don't have any comment from any of the other that we sent out. So.
We did get, no objections.
No.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Thank
So
you.
at this time, I'd like to close out the public hearing on item number 2 and adopt the local law.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So moved. Righty.
You got, do we have to adopt a local law? Or we did
just
that
did,
all
right?
just, we closed the meeting
We did.
and.
And we did a lot. We done,
Okay,
right?
We done?
We'll make it work.
We'll make it work.
Let me do it again.
No. Look, it's missing.
I'll do it. Is there anybody here for public comment on any other issues that are in the town of Somers? No? Okay. Patty, let's go right to
I see.
5, department reports.
I have reports from the town clerk, building inspector, zoning board of appeals, plumbing, Bureau of Fire Prevention, Parks and Recreation, Planning and Engineering, tax receiver, and director of finance. I also have to report that we received a liquor license renewal for La Fontana Restaurant.
Very nice.
On Route 100,
Yes,
Fontaine,
La Fontaine.
Fontaine.
That was an expiration of a license.
It's just a renewal.
Renewal, okay.
Okay, let's go to business of the board. Town of Somers update. I received a nice email today from Michael Barnhart from the Somers Land Trust. He has been working with the Parks and Rec to clear the trails over there on an Anglefly. And he's been super impressed with the hard work that our recreation department has been doing. We've also had the scouts up there who've been blazing the trails the past couple weeks. So looks like that property is in really good hands with the scouts and with the Parks and Rec and along with Michael and the Somers Land Trust. So
Hunters too, right?
and the hunters as well.
Yeah.
The hunters
Other
are
people
helping
have-
in and taking notice of where all of the down trees are and putting in notes for us so we can go up there and we have a system that we're using that the scouts set up for us. Everybody is using it so we can all get there and know exactly where to go to take care of everything. So it's been working and I'm glad to see that it's working.
This is one of those things that is a tremendous amount of work and it gets done by volunteers. Got to thank Michael, the scouts, and I know you've been working to organize all of this. So, yeah.
It's
tip my hat to all of that.
You know, it's an example of how some supervisors used to say the town runs on volunteers. But it is true. And so for not just years, decades, there's a small group, Land Trust, Open Space Committee, those people, you know, who would keep everything clear and running and advise the town. But at some point, they're not able to do it, and there are not others who are sort of filling in. So you find another way for other volunteers to help, and that's what happens in a small town, and that's good. And you hope you just never run out of volunteers.
Yeah.
So to those who have done the work, we say thank you. And to those who are doing and will do the work in the future, we say thank you.
Thank you. And then the last update too, you might see our bucket truck from the highway department out and about. They're out there clearing some trees that we've needed to get to, some of these higher trees. So we're getting a lot of use out of the bucket truck. And that's a great thing. So the cool thing is they have Macho Man Randy Savage on the front of the stuffed animal on the front of it. So you'll notice the bucket truck when you see Macho Man. So, and then that brings us, after the updates here, brings us right into 4 Lovell Street zoning amendment submission and discussion. So if you guys like to come up then and present for us.
I didn't see your IT person, but I do have a thumb drive. If you'd like us to put an image up on the screen, it's entirely at the board's discretion.
Oh, that'd be great.
Paul, can we help on this?
Paul,
He's in the back there.
is she over here? There he comes.
Like the wizard out from behind the curtain.
Yeah.
Is the producer, the
Oh my God, it's a
director,
real person.
producer, director, and cameraman.
Thank you.
So thank you very much. Good evening, members of the board. My name is Steve Rabel. I'm with the law firm of Cullen Goldberger and Stout on behalf of Lincolndale Hill LLC. With me tonight from ownership is Dan Bisharat, and they own 4 Lovell Street as well as the adjacent parcel, which you all probably know as Village Plaza. So we were last before you, I think it was back in February. My partner Linda Whitehead was here and shared with you a concept for Lovell. And we're here tonight with the same concept. We've been working with planner and staff on some proposed zoning to accommodate what you'll see is a 10-unit multifamily development on the property. So, perfect. So as you can see from the first 2 slides, the proposed site is actually located currently in the R40 single-family residential district, but it's situated right on the border with the neighborhood shopping district to the south. And you'll see if anyway, there's a number of mixed uses all around it. Single family residential primarily to the north and a little to the west, multifamily to the east, and then commercial obviously to the south, not just on the plaza, but as you go down Lovell Street and Route 202. So we feel that this property is fairly ideally suited for transitional, moderate density residential development. We like the idea of adding to the village, to the town's housing stock. And what we've proposed is a multifamily development that connects to, as you can see here with pedestrian access ways, the Village Plaza. The idea being to create shared parking, complementary residential use that will be beneficial to the town and will improve what is currently a vacant parcel. So what we're hoping to accomplish is first to rezone the property from R40 to neighborhood shopping. And then secondly, we're proposing a zoning text amendment to accommodate this particular use, which I don't believe the NS currently permits straight multifamily development. So the concept is in keeping with what you've seen before. We're hoping to get your feedback tonight, and then depending on where we are, maybe talk about next steps with the town. And certainly if you have any questions for us,
So, it's a couple of things. And I think when we were at the last meeting, there were a few things we kind of threw out to you guys, but let me just first ask, anything changed from the last presentation?
No,
So it's pretty much the same?
Yeah.
Okay. So we were talking about if we were to do this, maybe socializing this with the local residents. I mean, have you guys talked to the local residents at all?
We haven't gotten any direct feedback.
Have you asked for feedback?
Yeah.
We haven't,
Yeah, come on.
No, we haven't gone directly to the neighbors. That, I think we were looking to kind of see what the process would be with the town. If you remember back in February, the conversation was about Governor Hochul's housing plan.
Right.
And
Correct.
we were actually told there'd be a kind of a moratorium on zoning changes. So we didn't feel we wanted to rush into a conversation on a project that may or may not be
Yeah.
happening. So we're at that point now, I think. I think this is really hopefully the kickstart to the process more fully, obviously getting your feedback tonight, having the conversations with neighbors, moving on to planning when it's appropriate, and really starting it, with full force now that we know that, we're not going to have that question mark regarding a moratorium.
So there's probably some people who are probably just tuning in and just watching it from the first time.
Sure.
Right? If you take us through the
Yep.
Lincolndale Plaza that's there, right? And tell us, I see that there's no other curb cuts and that nature
Yeah.
up there. And just take us through a little bit of that so people can get an overall picture and sort of what the vision looks like that you guys
Sure.
are trying to accomplish within that area.
Yeah. So, if you, when we started off with this, we looked at the vacant lot and we said, well, we could put a single family home here, which would, allow up to actually on the zoning lot, 9,000 square feet. But that would require putting a curb cut on the main road. There's quite a large, grade change. So it'd be a very difficult thing to do. And in reality, we could actually put that home kind of in the back corner, tuck it away, which you'd want to do because you're next to a shopping center.
Mhm.
So then we started thinking about alternative uses and what would make sense, given that we do own this shopping center. And we thought, well, we could just share the parking lot, share the entry, push the development towards the commercial property, alleviating, kind of disruption to our neighbors. And, a multifamily rental property next to a commercial shopping center is not unusual. And in fact, some people would actually like having that connectivity. So we thought this was the cleanest solution. If you remember, we did originally propose 20 units and we reduced that down to 10, which we thought was really, from an economic and a just resource perspective, probably the right balance for us to proceed with the project. So, I thought we came back with a scaled down version that really took it as close as it could to our existing center. And, I think the other important piece here is the lot is going to be minimally disrupted. At least that's our intent. If you put the structure and you access the construction site and all these other things from the shopping center side, and we stop where you see on the screen with the terraces on the ground level, we're not going to be building onto, further into the lot other than to make sure we have the appropriate septic and well. But, other than that, there's going to be a really nice border with wooded area that we're not looking to touch or disrupt and just keep that intact completely. So we thought this was a really neat solution to giving everyone something, here in a way. We're bringing a vacant lot into the tax rolls in a more substantial way, a much more substantial way than versus a single family home. We're bringing housing, to the community, rental housing, which I think is needed. We are not going to be, a luxury developer. So we envision this as, housing for everyday folks, maybe people who are moving back to the town after studying, or wanting to move from the city back into Somers and can't afford to buy a home yet or something like that. So we think it's a solution for, doing a little bit to help in that regard in terms of housing. And like I said, the curb cuts and reusing the parking lot is really just, I think, a huge home run. If you think about the amount of pavement we'd have to put on that single family lot for a new home, you'd be looking at a very long driveway, a very large parking area, garages. So that's really kind of the intent and the vision. That's how we got to where we are today.
So when we were talking about this back then, I just also remember septic capacity
Uh-huh.
and the ability of that to handle what's going on there. I mean, and I'd also say I think the prior owner had some thoughts about septic issues. So
Yeah. So,
are they resolvable and have you looked at it yet? And
right. So we have our civil engineer on board. He actually lives in Somers down the street. So it's nice to have a local person looking at this. He's looked with his team, has looked at the capacity for septic. He's looked at the location of wells on the other properties adjacent to. Sure, we're not going to be in a tight spot, if you will. We've already confirmed we can put a private well and the septic on our lot without disrupting, neighboring issues. We're not going to tap into what's already existing. On the commercial lot, they'll be completely separate. So all of these things have been, we put together a pretty detailed plan for the planner to look at, and maybe you've already seen it. Probably not, it sounds like. So we can definitely share that.
So you're going
So-
to be pretty much self-sufficient with
Exactly.
development compared to the present.
Except for the parts that, you really don't want to rebuild, which is the parking lot and the curb cut. So we'll have those easements in place to allow for that
Right.
connectivity.
Did you read done?
what's that?
Did you have more to say?
No, I mean, that answers the question. Essentially, it's operable and it would
It
be
is.
sufficient.
Mhm.
Roland, I mean, in any of these projects that we're talking about, this whole PFOB type stuff, I mean, when you're putting in a larger development, this could be even, the Boniello or the Kearney development. Does that subject to those developments to the PFOB regulations?
I believe they're classified as non-public community water systems. And the homeowners association or the condo board, someone will have the responsibility to do the same level of testing that the town does for its public system.
We do that already for our commercial property,
Yeah.
Okay.
because it is public. It's a public use of that water. So we have daily testing.
So you would have to do that here.
We would do that on
And-
the multifamily site as well.
And the thought is that, so you're going to have like a community well for the 10 units.
Exactly.
And
And
the 10 units, as I recall, 2 bedrooms, 1 bedroom.
Yeah, it would
Eight,
be eight
so-
one beds. Eight 1-beds and two beds
And this is going to be rental or condo?
rental.
Rental.
Mhm.
So that is, is going to be taxed as income. Let's use the income approach, right?
Mhm.
Come up with that.
Did these fall under any affordable housing requirements or programs with the state or anything when there's 10 rental units?
With the state, none that I believe, but I do believe you have an affordable requirement in your code.
Right.
If
And
it would be one unit it'd be 10%, I believe.
does this apply for all? I think we're 15%.
Oh, 50, is it 15? Okay,
Yeah.
we'll double check that. Whatever it is, we'll comply.
And so, but it's aimed at people, workforce.
Yes, I think you have product in the town that is quite, high end, without naming specific development.
Oh, yes.
And then you have more moderate free market, which is where we would be. Ultimately, we are going to be adjacent to a commercial property. It's going to be, in our view, starter or downsizers. That's really
People say that all the time. That's great. You got all these, but how about me who wants to stay here?
Mm.
Or I just talked to someone who's got out of college, living at home saying, I want to stay in the area, but exactly as you said, we will now direct them directly.
I was going to say, it's get your kids out of the basement type of project. That's
How do you know
the idea.
kids? I don't know about my kids.
We're on the property, Paul, if we go back to the map again of the property, we're on the property. You guys thinking about putting the septic in?
Right. So we have the locations of the adjacent wells. So I don't have the exact location on this diagram, but it'll be essentially if you're looking at perfect. So it'll be the left side, north and northwest will be the predominant. Yes.
Closest to level.
Yeah. because that's away from the adjacent properties' private wells.
Got it.
So one of the other things that I think we're talking about, no hallways. This is the access and egress.
Exactly. Yeah.
Will be outside,
Marie, yeah.
or is that right?
So it's direct access. I should rephrase that. So the 2 bedrooms will be they'll be duplexes. So that entire structure will be like a townhome
Right.
style. And then the 1 beds, you will basically walk into the ground floor unit directly, and then there'll be there's side door or another door that will walk into a landing, then stairs up. But they're all private, to answer your question. So they will have
So no common halls,
Exactly.
but you have to go inside to get.
Yeah. Mhm.
I think if you look at our discussion with other developments, that has what we would like Somers to have is that sort of development.
Yes.
Yeah.
We took that feedback on as
Is-
well. Yeah.
That,
I remember
that's
having
good.
that conversation.
Now, if you're in back of that shopping center,
Uh-huh.
now the backs of shopping centers, in my experience, are not like America's most attractive places.
Not at all.
So how are you going to change that? I don't know.
Yeah.
Back there.
I think that's the best part, actually, because our commercial property will now have a side that will need to get attention now. And we're working on improving all that. We've improved the lighting and the signage and the paint and all that, but we're going to move the garbage, the refuse area that's already there. There's a bunch of dumpsters in the back. We're going to move that away and try to tuck it to the right a bit more and screen it better. And then hopefully we get more interactive retail on the back end that can kind of speak to the
we get
resident.
on the other side, get some retail. Face.
Well, just the side that's now the back.
Yeah, that's
would have maybe not a business that doesn't invite customers in, right? But that would actually have customers come in, and we would just beautify that whole area so that it looks like a more inviting place.
if someone moves in there,
Yeah, they're not going to want to look at
they're not.
Ed.
We often say that when a project is done, if it's well done, people are going to say, hey, that's good. Who are the builders?
Right.
And if it stinks, you're going to say, who are the idiots that approve this?
They'll still want to know who it is.
Uh,
Oh, I see.
They
Yeah,
would
exactly.
blame us.
Yes.
They're not going to blame you.
That's
But
right.
if it works out well,
Yes. Well, I mean, I hope you've seen a bit of what we're trying to accomplish at the center already.
Yeah.
Over the last, year and a half, and more to come, but the concept was always to modernize it and improve it. And we want to do more of that in the back. The original idea with the 20 units actually would create more of a plaza, kind of like a village plaza in the middle, right? Between the housing project and the retail. I think with 10 units, it's a bit more scaled down. It's more townhome style. So we won't maybe cut off traffic to the back, but we will make that more of a center piece of the.
Well,
think-
it would be helpful if it's part of your concept plan, if, I'm asking you to do extra work,
Sure.
sort of express it somehow visually, what it might look like.
Yeah.
Community
You have
can
a
see
few
that,
photos of now, don't you? Well, some
of what the back might look like and.
Of the retail.
Of the retail and how
It all
looks,
together.
a visual of what the
Absolutely.
apartments would look.
Yeah.
Paul, can you go back to the slides, please, and show some of the designs of the building?
Yeah, the building designs are in.
The building design so that people could see what it looks like and what they're thinking about the townhome style.
Yes, exactly.
So we would have a preference or you have a preference in terms of what you would be recommending here?
So
You got 3 styles, right?
this is actually watered down. When we originally came, we said, you can do contemporary, you can do traditional, you can do transitional, and we ended up with transitional, which looks a lot more traditional than
Which one? The middle one?
all 3 of them. Kind
All
of
3 of them?
representative of all that style. I think we would end up with something in this or this vein. I don't think this
Yeah.
reflects the type of project we're doing, but some of that architectural style is still come through. And I think the important piece is when you're driving down Lovell or you're looking at these buildings, they're only going to be this tall, right? And they're going to look very similar to single family home as you come down. So it's not going to feel like a big multi-family square box with modern facade and all of that.
How many, parking spaces would you allot for this? You're gonna have to come up with a parking area.
Yes. So we actually did that calculation on, it's in very small writing there, but essentially we will have the shared parking concept here. If you go there right now, I was actually just there at 6:30. That entire back is completely empty. And it usually is during the day. So we would allocate the required number of parking spots per the code. Let's call it, let's 18. I was going to say 18. So about 18 spots. And we would just say those back we would number the 18 that we would allocate to the residential, and we would ensure that there'd be no overnight commercial parking, for example, in those areas. Not that we have any, but
And the 18 would be for visitors as well.
well, that's the requirement by the code to have 18. I would be shocked if you had 18 cars at any given time for that residential development, but you have the entire parking lot ultimately for the commercial.
So this is sort of a preference of mine. I don't even if it's a rational preference, but when I go around town and I look at, the units that we have that are more dense, denser type ones, I see parking situations that I don't love. Where when cars come in, everything, everybody's home and everything's piled up all over the place and it's crowded parking. And then on the other side of that, you might have something like Heritage Hills where everything is, even when everybody's home but this parking, everything is sort of still looks like has a residential feel.
Right.
I
So
would, I would want to accomplish that. I don't know if that's in the zoning. Maybe that's something we have to think about, in terms of zoning. Everybody had that preference, but
well, yeah, you have a unique situation here where we're kind of dealing with an existing parking lot. With that said, I would be open to looking at maybe, right in front of the row of housing, if there's a bit more open space.
islands, trees.
Yeah. And I see what you're saying where it doesn't feel like a sea of concrete and
Cars. Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
right in one place. You want to break it up with some interesting natural landscape and that sort of thing. And that's that as a resident of those apartments, you probably would want that too, right?
One of the other things you were talking about is sidewalks, community benefits and all that. Am I jumping the gun, or that was further thought on that? Or maybe you've had conversation, supervisor.
Yeah, I mean, it's been brought up, and one thing we can definitely offer. The problem is it's only 10 units. I'm just,
I got it.
It's not a 100 or 200 unit development. The ultimate budget for this would not allow us to kind of publicly fund or fund a public sidewalk, at our property. And we would be happy to work with the town to create, provide easements or access to our property to develop connectivity with the other sites. If there are other ways we can work together to provide you access to the property, we'd be happy to do it as well. Obviously that benefits us.
Did the planner have any suggestions to you about that?
The idea of creating and it's even in your comprehensive plan, actually, that little nook there, to really have sidewalk connectivity between all of those different.
I advise you to buy the property across the street there, then connect the two of them together.
This is a public meeting, so I'll just say it. I've tried to reach out to the owner. Maybe he's watching. So we'd be happy to have conversations about that. And certainly that would make a lot of sense because we have so much parking on our property, and if there's a way to connect the two with a crosswalk. So I think that corner does need a crosswalk. I think it would benefit trying to connect it down the road, maybe towards the post office plaza.
I think that
that's quite an expense, I'm sure the village or the town has thought about ways to approach that, but maybe we could find together.
Well, you were
grant money.
thought.
Yeah, that's right. But if there was maybe we could look at providing some, whether maybe it's the engineering, we could offer that with our civil engineer. We could work on, like I said, access to our property. We could work with other property owners to find ways to make it happen. But it's like I said, it's 10 apartments, not a large scale redevelopment that we're talking about here. So
In your shopping center there, imagine different tenants in your shopping center with offering different services. Now that there are 10 apartments, it's not a whole lot, but some sort of a food store or a deli or mini mart or
Well, we do have a convenience store. I think the,
Oh, you got, I forgot.
Don't.
yeah,
Not
even up yet.
But are we gonna run into
Hey,
safety?
Jesus.
We're gonna run into safety issues.
Super.
People are gonna wanna cross 202 to get to, let's say, the deli over there. Typically, you're not gonna have that type of pedestrian walking today.
Yeah, I think it would probably we'd have to look at it and have some sort of access to get across there. I mean, you have,
yeah, at a
you
minimum,
have the deli over there, you have the gym that's next door. You have a couple of those stores, and then you have Appliance Sales Plus. It's right up the hill as well.
yeah.
But I think that area needs some attention. It's, it's interesting when you drive into that area, right? It just needs something. I know you guys have been
Yeah.
doing a lot of work at the shopping center with the lighting and all that stuff, and
Yeah, just
working on the front and
visibility.
the visibility and working on it. I think we'd have to talk about that and how safety issues and getting across the street.
So in this type of a development, children, I mean, what would your estimate be? I mean, what type of a planning estimate would you?
Well, we're talking about 1-bedroom apartments.
So-
Maximum, you'd have 2-bedroom apartments. Yeah, I
So-
mean, you would know better than I think.
Yeah, I'm not a planner. I can't speak to specific numbers or, the Rutgers study. But what I can tell you is, if you talk to a planner, they'll say rental typically gets very low, and the number goes down the fewer bedrooms you have. So this is a predominantly 1-bedroom complex. I would expect school children numbers to be quite low. And if there's kids on the
Oh,
property,
think-
they're probably out of the apartment by the time they get to, matriculate to school.
I mean, if there are children, there may be some, play area and that type of thing, but just a question. On the, the tax rolls, have you done any estimate on what that could be?
I haven't actually.
So I could probably do one in my own mind, but what would be the rentals there?
Let's call it an average of, just off the top of my head, 2,200 a month.
Okay, okay.
Just,
That's for the 1-bedroom or for the
yeah, I guess the 1-bedrooms, and then maybe, a bit more. I'm thinking of an average. So maybe, because there's only 2-bedrooms really. So
So $2,200 a month for 10 apartments,
yes.
the 220. Yeah, okay.
So about, a rent roll of 260 or
260.
250 or something like that off the top of my head.
But not a lot of tax revenue then, but
More than that's there.
it's more than that's there. I got it.
Right.
You
I mean,
have other, I think I asked this once before. Do you have other, you've done this before?
we've done quite a bit of rental housing.
Right.
We've done, conversions from a warehouse to apartments. We've done taking very old buildings that are kind of needing a gut renovation and bringing them back online. But
We have similar to this?
we haven't done this specifically, but we've ground up, but we have owned pretty much exactly this, which is this townhome style rental in Rybrook.
Reason I ask is,
Yeah.
some on sidewalks just to see, okay.
Okay. Yep.
Like, sometimes you find out about the builder.
Yep.
I went to Red Hook and just talked to people. What do you think of this builder?
Mhm.
That type of thing. And town board has been on sidewalks and over in Newburgh at one point, see things. In January, we have another one. So is there some place that we could visit just to get an
Yes,
idea?
we could take you on a tour in Tarrytown. We own 5 or 6 properties there. We've worked very closely.
Our property's right on the water there? Or
Not quite. No, it's rental housing. We worked very closely with the village there on a conversion project, worked with the town, the village board there to landmark a building actually, to allow us to secure an additional unit for an approval. And we built that out, and we saved a warehouse from 1907. It was completely empty. And now there's 3 families living in it. So, we've done these types of collaborative efforts with the town and the village once we give them the vision and what we're trying to accomplish. Because it's not often easy projects that we come up with, but usually it ends with a good result. So
Anything
happy
that
to
would be
Tarrytown.
somewhat similar. I realize it's not going to be exactly the same,
Yeah.
somewhat similar. you know, might be some of us might be interested in going. or-
You name the day. We can,
If you have food, it makes it better.
yeah, absolutely. Terrytown checks all the boxes for that. So
Can you talk about the text amendment and the change to the NS zone and how do you box that in that it doesn't, create a situation for every NS zone that we have?
So there's a couple tools we implemented, and it's first and foremost, you have to have frontage on Level Street, which shrinks the pool of properties to begin with. And there's a minimum acreage requirement of
That would actually say that in the zoning, buying frontage on
Mhm.
Lovell Street.
yes, it is letter A in the list of criteria.
Okay.
So number one with the bullet, and then it's got to have at least 1 acre, so it sizes out some of the other properties. So we intended to be descriptive in the zoning and try to avoid rezoning every other property
Right.
in S district in the town.
Okay.
Anything else? No?
I mean, the only thing I would, it looks like a great concept, without a doubt. I just am just interested in a little bit more what the folks around the area are gonna, and how they're gonna feel. And
Yeah.
so and in some of the situations where we had something like this, guess we did this with Donardo. He went and he kind of talked to all the neighbors and, essentially, got he socialized it and essentially got their support. So I think I would like to see that before we would,
Yeah. I think, Dan, too, with what Tony just said here, maybe socializing a little bit with the neighbors. Also too, maybe contacting the office, maybe picking out a couple dates that we can maybe get a site visit. If we can't all get there at one time, maybe 2 of us can go at a time
sure.
and look at the site and some of the other projects that you've done.
or invite, people to come here and you can do this little presentation, neighbors and so on, give them an opportunity to see it.
I think there's the
Yeah.
next 2 steps,
Definitely.
and then yeah, we could take it from there.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, yes, right.
Yeah.
Right.
Question.
You have to get up there, Barbara.
Sure.
Name,
Uh,
address, Barbara.
2 quick questions.
When can you move in?
What about sanitation pickup for the rental units?
Private.
Okay.
And the Yeah.
second.
And the second, will there be enough space for truck deliveries to get in the back if people in those, so many people are buying from Amazon and da-da-dee-da-da. Will there be enough room for a truck to get in there to make deliveries?
Thank you. 2 good questions. So for the sanitation, we would, again, another shared benefit of being part of that commercial property is we already have quite a bit of trash pickup going on, which we ran into a couple problems. I think, a few months ago with the trash company, we, no pun intended, cleaned that up. And now they are, we've actually centralized it. So we have one contract for the entire property. Whereas prior to that, each tenant would bring in their own dumpster and it was just mayhem. So we actually brought it all together under one company and we would simply just get another dumpster or, make sure that the refuse from the apartments made its way into the commercial dumpster and then get picked up at the same time. So that's the first point. The second point is there's that to your point about the drop off and pickup, it kind of goes to what you were saying about how you make that threshold between the commercial property and the residential property, not just to see cars. And then you would have an Amazon truck kind of sitting behind cars, blocking the road, so we probably would leave an area for drop off pickup and we would, try to lighten the parking right in front so that people can get picked up, dropped off, packages can go in, and it doesn't look like you're just staring at the back of cars.
And it would be one way, correct? One way going around or?
Yeah, I think we would have to do it that way now. Yeah.
I mean, I see that that you've created the biggest buffer for the surrounding, right? So you moved the units up
Exactly.
closer, but it looks a little tight though.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll have to, in the next step, we'll get into the nitty gritty of exactly how the parking and access works. We were kind of reserving that for the site plan approval, because obviously that's where a lot of that conversation happens. But we're taking all this on board, so I think this is really helpful feedback.
Barbara's third question was whether or not you need a library card.
I've got 2 young kids. We use the library,
There you go.
so
Yeah.
I'll take one.
I did have a question though. So a lot of the people who've come in, the builders lately have come in, we've encouraged them and they were ahead of us in some cases about being as much carbon neutral,
Mhm.
alternative energy source, that type of thing.
Yep.
Small development. Do you
Well, I mean,
thought about that? And if so, do you have any
yeah,
plans? to do that?
we would look very heavily at geothermal here. With that said, we'll probably end up with heat pumps at a minimum. Solar would be an obvious, they want to paint all the rooftops with solar these days. So, we would look at ways of doing it in a more integrated way. So it's not,
But you can buy into that and then you get the credit from the solar farm.
yes, we can. And in
Literally.
fact, we can even do it on the commercial property.
Right.
Really is might be the interesting point here. Again, using the commercial property to make sense of the residential development. But the codes these days are really ahead of things. And honestly, the incentives, the state and at the federal level, what they give you does make it very attractive to make sure that you're being as energy efficient as possible.
It's good. I think I would fit in with the rest of the town.
Yep.
Let's try to be a leader.
Yep.
in the area, and we're proud of that.
We are.
Yeah, great.
Okay.
Great.
Dan, thanks so much, man.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All righty, let's move on to number 3. We'll put both of these together. So let me just read them here. Authorize supervisor to execute requisition documents for the 100,000 DASNY grant for the purchase and installation of the new security system at various town locations, project ID 24838, and B, the renewal contract for the town's group vision insurance with Shelter Point for the period of January 1st, 2024 through December 31st, 2024. I'll make the motion to allow the supervisor to execute.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Move. Okay, number 4. Award bid and authorize the supervisor to execute a contract for the Old Bet Statue rehabilitation project in the amount of $34,772 with Lee Latonin Contracting Corp. per memo dated December 8th, 2023 from Steve Robbins, PE, lead AP, Woodard and Curran. I'll make the motion to allow the supervisor to execute.
Second.
Now, Rob,
Go ahead, yep.
if we agree to this, does that mean we lose Old Bet?
Means we lose Old Bet over there.
Oh,
That does.
Over 10 yards.
We lose her and then she'll go up, and we're hoping to start, if this goes through, we're hoping to start here in January.
So it's 23,000, you said?
It is 34,772.
34.
So listen, we issued it out to 5 contractors out there. This contractor came in and then we've had a lot of support through other contractors in the area, and they didn't want to do the whole job, but they said, what can we do to help? So we're excited about that a lot of people wanted to be a part of this. A lot of people wanted to lend time. A lot of people want to use resources. So I'm hoping that number will be lower than that. But if he does the whole entire project as is, 34,772.
Look, I mean, this thing's gonna last 100 years.
Yeah, well, we hope more than that.
So that may be $340 a year.
Yeah,
Who cares?
yeah.
Let's get that done. What does the ETA look like for this?
Well, listen, so I think obviously the column will be off, right? It'll be on, it'll be laying down, there'll be roped around, be security around it. And then it'll take some time to core out the column and make sure that it's then we have to pour the foundation underneath it, lay the rebar, set it back in on top of it, then take the the structural work goes on, right? And put that back on top and then raise old bet back up to it and lower on and match up everything. So we have the blacksmith working on it right now to make sure that it'll be able to hold. And then this is just one of the steps there. And like you said, hopefully January we start
All right, good.
and then we'll have her up. I'm hoping. I'm not going to make a date, but I'm hoping for end of the first quarter. So it's a lofty goal, but I hope that will be the time frame.
So the thing here is also to preserve all the elements there because they have a historic content, right?
Correct.
And so they're trying to work with everything. The one that's up there now, I think, is just being held up by the blocks posts there. So this needs to be
This needs to be done.
Yeah.
fortified and
Especially to hold the new weight of the new old bet. Right around 530 pounds. The other one was in the 200 range.
Mirror.
So we want to make sure that it's safe, secure, and like Anthony said, up there for the next 100, 150 years, 200 years, long after all of us are
And this proposal does that. It's better, stronger, and safer.
better, stronger, safer. That's what it is. I'll make the motion to allow the supervisor to execute.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. 2024 fireworks agreement. I'd like to make a motion to adopt and execute the contract.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved.
And for those who are watching, our plan is to continue at Reese
Correct.
with Garden State Fireworks, same company,
Same.
which did the fireworks in Washington DC on July 4th, I found out.
Did they really?
Yes, they paid a little bit more than we did.
Just a little bit.
But ours was still better.
Yes, but ours was better.
Better.
Yes.
Yeah, so we welcome everybody to come out for the Independence Day celebration and we look for everybody hopefully to be there. On to, we have a couple of add-ons, Patty. Next one here is Anglebrook Golf Club. Authorize a town attorney to sign the consent judgment with regards to Anglebrook if required. Make a motion to authorize the town attorney to sign.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. And then we also have one more, an add-on here, number 7, and this is for a WIA grant. We were just awarded a WIA grant here for $1,747,588. And this is to go to water improvement projects here in the town. We're working hard to get that stuff in order. But this is just one way to help out, and we have another grant that we're hopefully we applied for as well. But this is another step to bringing water to the business district, and this would just help ease some of the costs there on that. So I'll go ahead.
No, this is a big deal. I mean, you wonder how you get things done in this town and tax rates don't go up. When you have a strong grant program and you're acquiring, $1 million here and $1 million there, the public benefits in a tremendous way. So that's really a good, it's a good job, a very good job.
Thank you. Anything?
Very.
All right, make the motion to authorize supervisor to execute the exception, execute the
Be a grant.
exception of the WIA grant in the amount of $1,747,588.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. Okay, on to financial. Authorize an increase of $233 to the capital budget to cover the additional cost of the townhouse flat roof per December 7th, 2023 memo from Robert Kehoe, Director of Finance. I will make the motion to authorize the increase.
second.
All in favor?
All right.
So
You know what I've learned about roofs? I know nothing about roofs, but I've found that flat roofs are usually not a good idea. That's what I found out about roofs.
We're on every commercial building though.
they are.
It seems like, I guess it must be cheaper, right? I guess.
And the next
They
step,
had to do it halfway here. We have a roof that's on a slant, it was a scaled roof, but we have a flat portion
Yeah.
up on top, right? But you're talking about the one over here.
Yeah.
On this site, right?
this roof right here, right above us.
Yeah.
So the next, as you can see, people during the daytime, there is still a railing that needs to go up, and we're hoping to do that here by the end of the year, but maybe early into next year. So, but we're working on that. We just finished up the Reynolds house, so now we're moving on to the railing over here. Now let's move on to highway. Accept the low bids for the 2024 highway material, the exception of mileage deviation from all categories picked up by FOB by trucks furnished by the town of Somers per December 1st, 2023 memo from Nicholas DeVito, Superintendent of Highways. I'll make the motion to accept the low bids.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Moved. We do have some personnel. We do have some current vacancies on our boards. Affordable Housing Partners and Prevention. I believe we do have one for the Veterans Committee here. We have one for the Library Board of Trustees. Told that the person is still interested. Partners in Prevention and the Zoning Board of Appeals on that as well. If anybody is interested in serving on one of these boards, please contact my office and we'll set up a time to meet. No additional thing for planning and engineering. Police, no additional business. Consensus agenda, I'll make the motion to approve the consensus agenda as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
So moved. And that takes us to the calendar. We will have a town board special meeting on December 28th, 2023, and that's at 9:30 a.m. I'll be signing, right, a bunch of, what are we signing? We're signing the abstracts. Then our calendar for 2024, January 4th, we have our town board organizational meeting and our town board work session. January 11th, town board regular meeting, and then February 1st and 8th. All these are at 7 p.m. and town board work session and town board regular meeting. And then we go on to a little bit here for town board announcements. This Saturday, Somers High School football team will be recognized with a parade of champions for their win at the New York State football title game up in the Dome, back-to-back champs. And that will be at 8:30. Parade begins at Van Tassel, and they'll finish up at the high school, and then people can congregate into the high school to talk. And you'll hear a couple speakers will be speaking.
Let me just say this about that. That's an amazing thing
Yeah.
for a little town, because it's hard to win a sectional championship. Trust me. To win 3 sectional championships is extraordinary, and then go to the state title game 3 years in a row. So you might have a great group of kids that goes through, but once they graduate. But these guys here this year were freshmen when a great group came through, 3 years ago.
Yeah.
So it's it's a great feeder program. Any coach knows you have to have start when they're little. I think they're playing football in this town when they reach 2, I think, and start them early. And obviously a coaching staff that is devoted, which Anthony DiMatteo and his Coach Carpenter and all the others are very much. And, and then the parents that have to support this and goes all year round. I mean, it's really quite an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Is the most important thing happens in the high school? Of course not. It's what they do after high school that really counts, but it really is quite something. I'll tell you.
It is. You look at
It's hard
the
to win one thing, and
when you look at the youth programs here, especially for the football, for the youth football programs and the flag football program, we have over 850 kids in the youth programs, and that's flag girls, flag football, and for the youth football. It's truly amazing, and the town has rallied behind the coach and football, and it's pretty something, special.
and a lot of our teams, it is a sport.
Our soccer programs, baseball,
Cross country and track. I mean, we're strong in a lot of things. So if a kid has the desire, there's a lot of opportunities here to maximize a high school experience and hopefully in things obviously other than athletics, arts, other activities, service. But it's a good high school.
One of the things I'm most proud about seeing is when you look at the athletes that come through, or any of the students that come through, some of the colleges they go to. And that's just amazing. These kids are going to Duke, they're going to North Carolina, they go to Notre Dame, they're going to
D1s.
D1 schools, and they're going to great Division III programs. And for a kid to go out and just to play the game in college, it's extraordinary. Not many kids get to do that.
3%.
3%, yeah, and
Mm.
it's an amazing feat. So it's one of those things. We can keep going on for hours about it.
Yeah.
I just would add that, the athletes and the mentoring program also. I mean, you always see the athletes mentoring all the younger kids. I see it on my street. I see that, in the schools, all the sports, and I think that's great. And the work that all the parents do, the system is almost, they're actually developing the system that they have at the high school then at the young age. So this is like a program that starts very young, and I think that's really in a coordinated fashion. And that's what I think produces the results that we have. And the kids come back from college and they do the coaching, and so it's pretty cool.
And then would take me to number 2, Illuminate Somers Parade of Lights, organized by the Somers Lions and sponsored by the Paramount of Somers. That is on December 17th. That is a Sunday. Starting times can be scheduled in half-hour increments, starting at 5 p.m. Each tour is approximately 90 minutes, and you can sign up at illuminatesomers.com. And then prizes will be awarded to registered homes, courtesy of the Carney family. Town Christmas tree tradition. You can still take a photo in front of the tree, make a call for an appointment. We'll bring out the ruler and we'll put it in front of the tree for all the kids out there. Call the office here. 277-3637 is my office, and we'll be able to organize that Monday through Friday from 9 to 4:30. 4:30. The Holiday on the Hill annual train show. Now through Sunday, in December 31st, and that's over at Lasden. And you can get tickets at lasdenpark.org. Muscoot Farm, holiday lights on the farm, Fridays and Saturdays, December 15th, 16th, and that is 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. General admission, $6 per person, free for children 2 and under. And that's a rain or shine event. And that's you can go to Muscoot Farm. And I don't know if it's .org or .com. It's cut off on here to get tickets. And then the last one here, something that we're excited about all the time they do this. They keep getting new records every time that we do these. They set this up, the Town of Somers Blood Drive, and that's Friday, January 5th, 1:30 to 7:30 p.m. here at the Somers Townhouse. And hopefully you can make appointments. It can be made by calling the New York Blood Center at 1-800-933-2566. Patty, fun fact.
A lot.
So, you talked about that wonderful coaching staff, but I would be remiss if I didn't point out that 3 of the 5 are Somers alumni. So I noticed you mentioned Carp, but
I forgot Michael, right. Now I did teach,
And one of them's a son.
that's why I remember.
Somebody's
I
son.
did have him in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's, I just wanted to point out
Oh,
that
you're right.
I saw your true
Yes. One is
allegiance.
Oh,
one is somebody's son.
my, oh my.
And
Trouble.
then of course today is the 11th anniversary of Sandy Hook. So, that is a horrible thing. And in 1985, we lost the great Roger Maris. That was all September 14th. So then I'm going to start our holidays off with some better fun facts. A chef's hat has 100 pleats to represent the 100 ways to cook an egg. And the ancient Romans used to drop a piece of toast into their wine for health. Hence why we raise our glasses for a toast. So happy holidays and happy New Year.
Anthony, anything?
Well, today they had the senior lunch at La Fontaine.
Did, yeah.
They had over close to 100 people there, which was pretty awesome, and everybody enjoyed. I think Santa Claus made flew in and stopped by.
Santa Claus came in.
Came in and made an appearance, and was well received. And we had somebody there that was well over 100.
Yeah, well over 100.
Oh, maybe 102, 103. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
God bless.
Bill?
Yeah, thanks to this board and thanks to everyone in town and all of the town employees. It's been a great 2023. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, and a happy, healthy New Year in 2024. And this Saturday also, and if the parade and everything else wasn't enough, the fire department is doing the candy cane run on Saturday morning.
That's right.
In your neighborhood, check the check the Somers record for your specific neighborhood times. But Santa will be appearing compliments of Somers Fire Department this Saturday.
It's always good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Rich, anything?
Only to Patty, may you get a new pitcher from Japan, Yamamoto, to add to your Soto. So,
Can't believe I'm saying this, but Happy New Year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
Happy
gosh.
holidays, everybody, and Happy New Year. And I just, special day 12 years ago for me. My son was born today. Happy birthday, Brady.
Birthday,
hey.
Brady.
happy birthday, Brady. How
he's
old
at-
is he today?
He's 12 years old today.
nice.
He's at a band concert right now. So,
Right.
I think it just started. So
So it begins.
if I can sneak in there, I will. And, on that note, I'll make the motion to, close out tonight's meeting.
Second.